Good afternoon. I'm going to do a real quick check. If I can get somebody to send me a message and let me know if you can see my screen and hear me okay, that would be great. Wonderful. Welcome to Introduction to Project Team. I'm Susan Mills, and I work for Project Team, and I'm in the Professional Services Department working with education and implementation. We're really excited to have you guys join the Project Team family. Today, I'm going to cover how to get an account. I'm also going to show you how to log in, how to set up your profile, also how to look at action items and workflows, how to log into your project, how to find the different forms, set up your favorite form types, etc. So I'm going to leave the questions over here to the left, and I'll try to answer those as I'm going through. Whatever I don't answer during our session, I'll make sure to answer at the end of the session. So let's go ahead and start this out and let everybody know how to get your information. If you are a DGS employee and you need a Project Team account, you want to make sure that you send an email to dgs.projectteam@dc.gov. Again, that's dgs.projectteam@dc.gov. If you're a vendor, you need to reach directly out to your DGS project manager, and they will send you an invitation when your project is ready to go. Once you become a DGS Project Team user, let's say you need some assistance, you can send an email to support@projectteam.com, and one of our amazing support reps will get right back with you. Or you can click on your name, click the drop-down arrow beside your name, and then click Email Support, and it'll open your email client. You can send an email that way. You can also view our help pages, and you can provide some great positive feedback about how much you like the software as well. We do have a web page set up for you guys, and I'm going to show that to you in just a moment, where you can download the quick reference guides, where you can watch videos. They're going to be recordings of the classes that we're hosting over the next couple of months. And you can also sign up for additional classes. And we do have some generic videos on our Project Team YouTube channel, if you're interested in learning more about the product. So how do I get access to Project Team? Again, if you are a DGS employee, you want to use the email address I just sent you. If you're a DGS vendor or client, make sure that you reach out to the PM. Once you get an invitation, it's going to come via email, and it's going to look just like this. It's going to have our logo. It'll let you know that there's a new account created, and you need to click the Finish Your Account button. Now, it's really important. You have 24 hours to create your account, and this is for security reasons. And I'll show you the way that you can go ahead and get your password, go ahead and reset your password. In case you don't do it in 24 hours, I'll show you an easy way to fix this. So you'll click Finish Your Account, and it's going to bring you into the new project account creation page. You need to enter your first and last name and a password. And you can show the password to yourself to make sure you're typing it correctly, but the password requirements are right down here on the bottom. Just make sure you follow those, click Sign Up, and your account is created. Now, let's say you lose your password, or if your invitation expired. You want to open the Project Team login screen and click the Forgot Your Password. You'll fill out a little bit of information, your email address and everything, and it's going to send you a new link to sign up, to come back in and create your new password. So even if your invitation has expired, you can use this link to go back in and get your account set up. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to go into the system. So when you first log in, after you first log in, when you first come back to Project Team and you put in projectteam.com, it will bring you to the Project Team information page. What I like to do is I click this login button right here at the top, and it brings me to the login screen. Now, as you can see, I kind of already cheated and I made a shortcut. To do that, you can just drag the URL down to your shortcut bar, and it just creates a shortcut right there. So instead of typing in projectteam.com, you can just click the button and it'll bring you to the login screen. First time, you're going to have to enter your email address and the password that you created during the project team sign up. So you want to make sure that you go ahead and put in your email address and password, and then you'll click log on. Okay, I understand there's somebody that can't hear. Can everybody hear this okay? If you'll just send me a message and let me know, that'd be great. Okay, excellent, thank you. Okay, when you log in, and every time you log into Project Team, it's going to bring you to this page. It's called My Page, and it's a great place to come because it gives you a lot of great information, right? It's going to show you who you're logged in as, the company, your email address. First thing you want to do is you want to edit that profile information. Add your picture so that way people know who they're working with. And all you have to do is click that Add New Photo and look for the JPEG of your beautiful face and just upload it. Your e-signature. This is a great thing to upload because they can use it on merge templates and reports. Like if you're working on a document that required your signature, having this is a great thing to do so you're not having to download everything and sign it. It can just be applied, but it can't be applied by anybody but you. So don't worry about the security on that. Make sure that you upload, you update this information. And the main reason why is you want to make sure your project team members know how to get in touch with you. They want that, you want that email address, and you've got the work phone number and cell phone number. That way everybody can get in touch with you. Once you're finished, just click Save. The next thing that you want to do is you want to click these, what we call the ellipsis or the More button. If you had your password posted onto your desktop and you realize, hey, everybody could know my password and you wanted to change it, you could click the Change Password and change your password very easily. One of the things I really want to expand upon today are what we call email notifications. Now, within the system, I'm going to select my project. I'm just going to click on it to open it. And I'm going to click the Edit button. I'm just going to check these so you can see what it looks like when you open your project. Now, these are project specific, so you're going to have to do it for any of the projects that you have access to. By default, action items and workflows are automatically checked. This means you're going to get an email notification if someone assigns an action item or if you're included in a workflow. And we'll talk more about workflows as we get into the training for each individual group, your AEs, your GCs, your CMs, and also clients and DGS personnel. But one thing that you really want to make sure, two things that you want to check are the new shares. You want to be notified when a document is shared with you, okay? And you also want to be notified if any comments are made. DGS is going to really utilize the comments field, action items, workflows, and new shares. Comments allow the project team to be collaborative on a document and have a discussion going back and forth. And I'll show you more about this when we get into the project, but make sure that you check those items because if you don't, you're not going to be notified and people will be waiting on you to come back and give information. So make sure that these four are checked. I typically don't add field changes unless I really want to know everything because you'll get a lot of information. So I think these four really keep you on target. I'm going to click Save, and I'll scroll down to the bottom and click Close. Now, another thing is what we call recent activity. As you can see, I have all projects selected. If I want to filter by a project, I select the drop-down arrow and then choose the project that I want to see. Shows me the project name. And it also shows me the document that this is assigned to. It shows me the creator, what this person did to the document, and also the date and the time that this took place. If I want to open the project, I can easily click the project link here. Or if I want to open the document, I can click the link here to go right into the project straight to that document. It's a big time saver. So I can see all of the recent activity, not only by myself, but anybody that shared the document with me or that I'm working on a document with. Over to the left, I have action items, and I can see that I've got an action item that's due this week. I can click this button here, and it takes me right to my action item register. The subject is review of a QRG, and it's tied to a quick reference guide, the documents we use for training. And it also tells me which project this is in. I can click on this item, I can review it, and if it's done, I can mark it as complete. I can return back to my action item register anytime by clicking the drop-down beside the checkbox and selecting View All Items. If I'm looking at my register view and I know something is complete, I can click the drop-down and select Mark as Complete. I would use obsolete if, let's say, somebody created two of the same action item, or the action item is out of date and a newer one had been created and I'd already updated that one. I can obsolete it, and it removes it from the register view. It doesn't delete it, but it removes it from the register view. I can see assigned to me, assigned by me, and all action items. So anything that was assigned to me, anything that was assigned by me, that way I can keep up with what's going on. If I've assigned something, I want to check and see if it was taken care of. I can review the information, and I can see all action items. If I want to show anything that's complete and obsolete, I can go ahead and check this item. Let me go back to the assigned by me and check this, because there's quite a few in here to show you. You can see that it was complete because there's a green box and a check mark there. If I want to print this, I can click Print, and it's going to print whichever tab I have selected. Because I selected Show Complete and Obsolete Items, it's showing me everything. I can save it as PDF, or I can go in and I can save it to my Google Drive and cancel there. I can also create new action items really quickly by clicking the New button, selecting the project, and it is a requirement to select the project. Clicking Next. Now, I don't have to assign it to a document if I simply want to create an action item, either for myself or another team member. I can choose action item is not associated with a form. If I want to search for a form, I can see that there's a task here. I want to assign the item here, and I'll click Next. I'm going to assign this to John Bunch. I'll also assign it to me. That way, in case I want to just make sure it's done. And then I'm going to assign a due date. I can add additional notes, and I have the option to save and share this task with other people besides John and I. If my boss asked me to do this, and I might want him to know the task was assigned, or I can just do save, and only John and I have access to it. Another thing we want to look at is workflow. So I'm going to go back to my page. Anytime I want to go back to my page, I'll just click the drop-down arrow beside my name and select my page. If I have any workflows, they'll be available here. I'm just going to go ahead and click Show You. We have what we call swim lanes. I don't have any available at the moment. I have nothing assigned to me, but workflows are very, just like action items, really critical that you pay attention to them, make sure that you're addressing them, and you take care of them in a timely fashion. That way the project flow, the documentation goes through smoothly and on time. If I need to ever go back to my workflows, I have my workflows here. I can quickly see if there's anything overdue, due today or due this week, and I can view all the workflows. Clicking the drop down again allows me to see view all pages, view help pages. Again, that email support, provide feedback, and log out. If you're an admin, you'll have access to my company. To open a project, if I wanted to open the project directly from my page, I could open it by clicking the hyperlink within one of the documents. Or I can click the drop down beside projects and I can search. Now, I maintain what I call my project quick list, projects that I'm working in. As you're added to projects, they'll start filling up this list by default. Everything you're adding to, all the projects you're added to will start showing up here. Eventually, you're going to get a lot of projects there, okay? So you want to make sure that you click this 3 ellipses and configure your project menu. What this means is you can go in and you can add and remove projects from your list. You just check the boxes and click Save. Really intuitive. And now when I click my project list, I can see them all here. Well, let's say I don't have time to go do that. I took a project off, but I need to find it. I can go in and start typing it, and it's going to look through my list of projects and return it for me. Or I can click View All Projects and open up the full project list. So I'm going to open my CPO training project. I just click on the project title, and it opens up my project home page. Now at the top, I have what we call search project forms. I can go in and I can enter just a brief bit of data. It's going to search through every single form in this project to return the information I'm looking for. So I knew I had created an RFI about carpet. So I just put a brief bit of the search information up here, and it brought back my my request for information. I can see that it's request for information. It tells me where this term is showing up, who created it, and when it was created. I can also look at the detail, and the detail gives me a little bit more information, subject, question, and also the creation information. I'll come back to RFIs and what the form looks like in just a second, but I want to click the house right here, the project. What that does, that brings me always back to my project home page. So if I'm lost or I'm somewhere and I need to get back here real quickly, I can just click that button and it brings me right back. Favorite form types are really important because they're quick links to the documents that you use all the time. These are project specific. The reason why we did this is everybody comes in at different phases in the project. So if you're coming in on a brand new project and working on contracts and change orders and everything at the very beginning, then you might want all your financial information here. If you're working on document control, you might want to have all your document control and field forms here. To set this up, you click Edit, and you just check the box beside the documents that you want to show up in your favorite form types. And these forms will appear in this grid. Now, if you want to open one of the items, you just click on the button. And I'm going to go ahead and select Request for Information, and it's going to open my Request for Information or RFI log. Now, a couple of things about logs before we open the document, and I show you around the document. First thing is if I want to create a new RFI, I'm going to click this New button. The Print button allows me to print the RFI log. All these columns are ones that I've selected. And what that means is I can configure my log to show the information I want to see. If I click Configure Log, again, I've got these check boxes that allow me to go ahead and choose the columns that I want to see. Excuse me. So now it refreshes and I can see all my columns. That's a lot of information, so I probably don't want that many columns in my log. And if I don't want any, I can just, go ahead and remove the columns I don't want to see. I can see the date, the author company, the number, the due date, the author RFI number. Where I have a blue link is a hyperlink, and I'm going to click that document to open it. Or if I want to edit it, I can click the Edit button and it'll open an edit view. Here I have my question, and I went ahead and added my discipline. I can also see the creation date and time, and if I click the blue icon, I can see who this document has been shared with. Where I have a yellow circle with a slash means that that document was halted. This particular party no longer has access to any additional information that was shared to him on that document. We'll talk about that more too. If I click the link or the title of the RFI, it's going to open up the RFI form in read-only format. I have my shared with panel. This allows me to see everybody that's had access to this document or I've shared it with, and I can hover over their names to see when they looked at this particular document. If I want to share it with anybody else, I'll click share, and I'll choose the applicable share groups. As you can see, there are quite a few different share groups, and they're very clear on who they're with. You've got architect and engineer, assistant PMs, etc. I can see here that it was halted with the senior PM. We'll talk about that more also. Now, Project Team works off the premise of sharing documentation. And what that means is if I go and I hand John Bunch a document, we're on a project and I physically walk over and I hand him a document, I can't go and just take it out of his hands. I have shared that document with him. Same as with email, right? If you send an email to somebody and you share a document, you can't make them give the document back to you. But what you can do is you can stop them from getting any further information on this document. And the way you do that is you open up, click the View All. It's going to open up Document Access. And you scroll down and you can click the drop down beside the person's name or the group and click Halt. It removes their access to see it. They can see what you shared with them originally, but they cannot see any additional changes to the document. Okay. Underneath is what we call the detail section. This is where you're going to input the data. This, has every document has different fields. If you see a Get Next field, you click that button and it gives you the next number. A lot of fields are drop-down lookups. You just click inside the field. Some are text fields where you enter information. You've got date fields, there are number fields, some are add existing fields. Each one of the QRGs, and I'll show you this towards the end of the class, is going to outline exactly who on the project team does what on each document. So download those and become really familiar with them. Once a document is done or the information that needs to be entered by a particular party is finished, then they're going to go ahead and they would click the Save and Share button, or if they're editing it, they can just click Save. Underneath is the workflow. If there is a workflow on a document, then there are particular parties that will be responsible for kicking off the workflow. The workflow will notify another party, hey, this document is here. You need to come in and do the next steps, and the steps are outlined in the QRGs, and we also are training our teams on those as we go through. In this case, a GC is submitting the RFI, and he can submit it to either the architect or the DGS PM. He has two paths he can go to. If he chooses either one, it's going to notify the applicable party. That person's going to come in, make sure that RFI gets answered, and if the RFI, let's say that if the RFI is duplicative, he can cancel the workflow, let the person know, hey, we've already got this RFI in the system, or if the RFI can be moved on in the process, he can pass it on. So workflows are really critical. You can look at the workflow information by clicking the drop down and see where the workflow is in the process. Attachments. DGS really wants you guys to utilize the attachment section because, this is a great way to get any supporting documentation in the system. They really want to avoid having to do everything via email or on different drives and things like that. This gives them one place for all the documentation, and it's going to make your life a lot easier. You won't have to go in search of documentation if you get used to attaching it in the system. It will be there for you to use. On the top right, action items. We talked about that a few minutes ago. The beauty of this is I can assign an action item to anybody that has access to this document for this document. I'm going to select John, and I'll go ahead and put in a due date. and I just click Save. John will be able to see it. When John comes in and he uploads the photos, he can mark it as complete. When I go back, and I can use my forward and back buttons on my browser as well, you can see that action item is gone. If I want to check and see if that was taken care of, I just click the Show Complete. I know that John's uploaded the photos. They would be on the attachments, but I can see he's also closed out this item. Okay. Comments. Remember I brought this up earlier. Comments are a collaborative way for you guys to have discussions about a document. As you can see, I put a comment, isn't this RFI duplicative? Didn't we discuss this information on RFI 25? This way I can have a conversation with any of the parties that have access to the document. So let me be real clear on that right quick. If you have not had a document shared with you, you do not have access to it. So if you guys are sitting in a meeting and somebody says, hey, what's the status of RFI 12? And you're like, what's RFI 12? I don't see it. What that means is it was not shared with you. So just reach out to the person that owns the RFI and ask them to share it with you. But comments allow you to have that conversation. So make sure to utilize that. Make sure that you set up those notifications. I did have a question. We won't see options for email notifications until projects are added to our page. Yes, that's correct. You won't see any action items that are assigned to you for a project or the workflows, any, comments on documents or shares until your projects are created. Now, if you want to see what's happened on the life of a document, you can click the activity and it goes all the way back to document creation and tells you everything, who it was shared with, it was halted, etc. Reference links are really important. As, when you're working on meeting minutes and you're going to be talking about certain things, a safety audit, RFIs, etc., it's really nice to link to another document that you're discussing. And to do that, you'll click New and click Add Existing. You can create a brand new document by clicking Create New and selecting the form type. But to add an existing one, you can search for the document title or the type. In this case, I'm going to add a change order, and it's going to show up, and it breaks it down by form type. Now, security, again, is really, really important because if I don't have access to this change order, I wouldn't see it in the list. But if John doesn't have access to the change order, he is not going to see this on the reference link. He won't see any part of this information here. Because he doesn't have access, this document isn't anywhere on his horizon, okay? He'll be able to, if he has access to the email and the field report, he can see those. But only the people that actually have access to this change order will see that one show up in the reference links. Some documents have what we call a merge template. And what that is it's a formal document that was created and it has what we call merge tags in the document, and it pulls information that is entered by the users, and it makes a really nice document. So if I click the print and select merge template, and I select the request for information, I'm going to choose PDF because that's the recommended format, but I could print it to Word. I'll click next, and if there is an upload, thank you for that, Mr. Bunch, I'm going to go ahead and select the attachment, and that's under the attachment section, and I'll click merge. Takes just a second to generate the preview. But this document can be saved and downloaded, you can share it, and you can email it. And as you can see, it's got the DGS logo, the RFI number, and it contains a bunch of information. And here is the picture that Mr. Bunch uploaded for the project. I can click this arrow and go ahead and I can choose to save and download this, the merge template, RFI, and the picture. I can save and share it with another person on the team, or I can save and email it. You also have the three ellipses button. If this, let's say this is a duplicative RFI and you need to remove it from the register view, you can obsolete it. It doesn't delete it, but it removes it from the register view and nobody can access it unless it's unobsoleted. If you have not shared a document with anybody, if it's solely you that has access to the document and you realize, hey, this is already created, I need to delete this one, you can delete. But once it's been shared, you cannot delete it because other people have access. But if you obsolete it, it removes it from the register view. Now, let's say you're working on another document RFI that's very similar for the same area. You could clone it, and it brings over all the information. Of course, you'd have to do the get number and change whatever fields need to be changed, and then you would click Save and Share. When you save and share, it's going to ask you which groups you want to save it with. You select the groups or the individuals and click Share. And if you needed to go back in time to look at something you could view as of, you would select the date. In this case, this was created on the 19th at 2 o'clock. Whenever this document was created, you can go all the way back to the very beginning. I'm going to go back to the project homepage for just a moment. So that's it on forms. And, some forms will have tabs like your contract documents and your change orders. You're just going to click through the tabs to look at those. Underneath my favorite form types, I have recently created forms. And those are forms that I've just created. It gives me a great place for work in progress. So I'm not having to go in and search for them. I've got all this information here. If I click the View All, it gives me all the forms. Also, you can see I've got some items that I obsoleted. And I can look for the information there. I can quickly search for all forms in my Share Access via this search box. This gives me a lot of great information. It tells me this was shared, the subject, the form type, the date and time it was created, and I can click on the little blue icon and see who it was shared with, or click the Edit button if I have rights to edit it. I can also, let's say that there's a form that I don't use very often. I don't want to put it in my favorite form types, or somebody mentions it and says, hey, we really need you to update this information on this form. You can quickly find forms that aren't on your favorite form types by looking in the search. You click Forms and search for the form type, or scroll all the way down to View All Form Types and look in the form library. You guys have lots and lots of forms, so just search for them that way. Files. As you can see, there is a file tree or file structure that's uploaded. These are only for documents that do not fit in the form library. And I would definitely check with your PM if you're not too sure. They don't want files just being dropped up in here just because of the fact you can't report against them. So make sure if you've got something that you're not really too sure if it goes in the file library or you're not too sure which form it's to be placed in, check with your DGS PM. Form attachments. Every time you upload an attachment to a project team, what it does is it goes in and it adds it into the file library, and it puts it into the different form types. A basic change directive, I have the BCD for a new closet in the classroom. It shows me the form that I uploaded, which is great because I can use this form on another document without having to upload it. It also stores it within the form attachments. We have reports. Now, DGS is going to be working on a lot of great dashboards and reports. In the meantime, under All User Access, System Reports, you guys have quite a few that came with the default. If I want to, let's say, run the dashboard report, I can double click on the title and it runs it very easily. This is, just a visual dashboard. I've got a log here. If I do a detailed view, this gives me a log view sorted by subject, and it's very good to, these will be titled with really good information telling you what type of report you're getting ready to run. I have some options here. If I want to run the report, I can click on what I call my hamburger icon and click Run Report, or I can just double click it. I can export it as an Excel, PDF, RTF, or CSV file. I can schedule the report. I love this feature because if you're working, let's say you've got a budget meeting on Monday morning and you need to have this budget report in your email box before you go to your meeting. You're going to get in at 8 o'clock. You want to be able to review it, but you don't have time every Monday to log into ProjectTeam and run the report. You can actually come in and schedule this. You give it a title. You select the type of export. You want it in Excel or PDF. You can, if you wanted to execute it immediately and receive it in an email, you could do that. But let's say that you wanted it to come every Sunday night by 8 o'clock. Choose the time. I want it to come weekly. I want it to come on Sunday, and I want it to start this Sunday and no end date. I just want it to run until I tell it to stop. I'll also go over to my recipients. I'll put my name in and I'll click finish. So when I come in on Monday morning, or if I want to check it on Sunday night to be prepared, I can just go straight to my email and it's there. This is a fabulous time saver. So under all users could be, are going to be your vendors, your client agencies, DGS. There will be tons of reports under here. My company access will be for DGS only. So some of the internal reports that they'll have will be under my company access. All users, again, is for everybody. We have a directory. Now, the directory is going to show you everybody that has access to your project. If they have a green check mark and it says connected, that means they're a collaborator. They have access, they can log into the project, and they can do work. You can click on their name. It will give you the information about them. In this particular case, they only have their title and their first and last name and their email address. When they update my page, you'll have all that information like telephone numbers, etc. Now, if I scroll down, I want to show you what it looks like if there's somebody in the project that does not have access. I added Liz, who's one of my coworkers, and she doesn't have access. I put her in there simply because I want to be able to use her name on documents. She's a contact. She's never going to log in, but I might need to put her in on certain documents. So she is in here, but she's got a yellow invite button, which means she's a contact only. If I need to add somebody, I can add my business by clicking Add Business. First thing I like to do is I like to search to see if the project is in, the company is in there. I always like to make sure of that. If they're not, then I'll go ahead and click Create New. I'll put in a company name. I'll select the business type. I can leave some of this blank because when the company comes in, they can update their own information, and I would definitely ask my vendors to do that. That way you've got a wonderful directory of all the companies that you're working with. I'm going to go ahead and click Cancel here. But once I put a company in, then I can go ahead and add a contact. So I'm just going to click District of Columbia because that company is already in. You can see where John Harmon has added a lot of great information. It's got the DGS website, the headquarters location, the type of business, and a description. If I click on addresses, if the address is in the system, I would definitely go ahead and select that just because of the fact that if I'm using the addresses on any forms, I'll be able to choose that. Very easy. You just click Create New and you add the information and save it. Contacts. You guys have a lot of contacts that are already in the system, but if you needed to add a new one for DGS, you would click Add. Here, these are the people that are available that aren't in this project, right? Everybody else that's in the project is listed here. But if I need to add somebody that isn't in the project, I just click the checkbox and click Add Existing. If I need to add a new team member that's not in Project Team, because this is pulling from my overall business directory. But if I want to add somebody that's not in the business directory, I can click Create New, and I'm going to fill in definitely first name, last name, and work email address. Okay, and then I would click Save. That way and then you'll click the yellow Invite button that I showed you with Liz's name. Okay. There is a project team calendar, and the project team calendar is great. I'm going to give you fair warning, this calendar is open. There's no way to hide any personal meetings and things like that. This is truly a project calendar. So you can put on here the different meetings that you're having. Anywhere you see a red, you just go ahead and click that red icon and it'll tell you what's there. You can click edit if you needed to edit it. If you've got, as we are all working from home, a lot of us are meeting via webinar and things, so you could put the webinar information or the GoToMeeting information in here so everybody has that. It's really easy to add an event. You just click New Event, put in a subject, enter your start date and time, end date and time, put in a location and any notes, and then you just click Save. You can view this project calendar by clicking year, month, week, and day. And another thing I do want to show you before we close out is to make sure that I show you emails. And emails are a great addition because what they are is they're project emails, right? This is a unique project email that no other project has. So what I like to do is I just go ahead and select the entire email address. It's very long. I right click and select copy, or I do Control C with my keyboard. I'm going to open up my email, and then the first thing I like to do is I like to create a contact for this project. I'll delete this one and I'll just walk you through how I did that. I'll go into my email client, either Word or Google, whatever you guys are using. I believe DGS is using Outlook, and I want to create a new contact. I'm going to give the project name, or in this case, it would be CPO training. I want to make sure that I file it as CPO training, and I'm going to use my keyboard and do Control V, or I can do right click and paste. Now, I like it to show just the project name, so I get rid of all this stuff right here and I just call it the project, the actual project name, because that's how I'd like it to display as, and I just do save and close. So if I want to share an email to the project, okay, I can open my email and I can do forward, and I'm going to just find my project name. So if I start typing C, it would be CPO training, and I'm just going to send it to the project. Okay, in a few minutes, what's going to happen is this email is going to populate. It's really pretty quick. It'll populate, and I'll be able to review the email. Don't worry, you're not sharing the email with anybody until you're ready to, because like any other project team form, only you have access until you're ready to share it. As you can see, I uploaded one earlier. I can open it by clicking the link, and it shows me everything I need to know. Shows me the subject, when it was sent, who it's from, and in this case, it also uploaded the body of the email, which is great. I'm not sharing it with anybody, but not sharing it will simply put it into the system. You definitely want to share it at least with your DGS PM, because if you roll off the project and it becomes a required email, if they need it for something, they won't have access. So you want to definitely go ahead and share it at least with your DGS PM. If I have a team I want to share it with, I'm just going to check the box and click share. Now, Again, we've got the activities. The comments and activities are really important. So if I shared it with John, John came back and said, is there an update to this email? I could definitely go ahead and say sure, and then I can update, I could upload the new revision. Where emails come in really especially handy is, let's say that you've got a discussion going on outside of Project Team. You've got it going on with your email with a particular contractor, and you need to upload it because it may impact the project somehow. I can come in and let's say this is linked to that carpet in the library RFI. I'm going to link it, and now I can see it's linked here. And if I click on that link, it's going to show me that this email is linked here as well. Going back to what we've talked about security, nobody's going to see this email link unless they've got access to that email. But it's really nice to have those just in case you've got an issue going on with a particular document, or there's an issue going on with the project and you want to make sure you've got that supporting documentation there. Okay, I have a question about, can the calendar automatically sync to an Outlook calendar? Or that makes absolute sense, Emma. And that is something that we've really been asking our guys for, because we get a lot of requests for that, is to have this project calendar sync to email. So we do have a story in with our project team developers. Hopefully we're going to get some good news back on that in the near future. But we'll definitely, and I'll tell you how you can find out about new information. Okay, so let's talk real quickly about next steps and where you can get your information. We talked about that a few minutes ago, but I want to make sure that we really talk about this so that way you guys know. So let me come back in here. I want to come back into Project Team and show you guys how to access Project Team at DGS.com. So if I put in, and I would make this a shortcut because you guys are going to need it, because I'm going to tell you we did a lot of work on these quick reference guides. They contain a lot of standard operating procedures for DGS. I mean, these were weeks of work, and John Harmon did a great job outlining everything that's expected, not only for the DGS team, but for client organizations, for, vendors, for everybody. So this is really important that you guys become very familiar with this. projectteam.com/DGS, make that a shortcut. You can also make it a shortcut over here by clicking Edit Bookmark for this tab, or dragging and dropping it onto your desktop. So if I click Visit QRG page, it is going to break down everything. I mean, we've got system access and account set up. It's got everything. And if I click any of these links, I'm going to have to get that one fixed. I do that every time. Basic use and navigation. If I click here, it automatically shows me everything. And I mean, these are very, very detailed. You can click the drop down here and just download it. Vendor use goes over emails, meeting minutes. We will be covering these in each of the individual classes. I'll show you in a minute how you can sign up to take classes that are applicable to you. We have them broken down by vendor use. Each one of the documents that you guys will use. Client agency, the DGS CCD team, the budget and finance, and the DGS administrators. If I want to watch videos, I'm going to upload this video in just a little while, but I can go to the video page. And I broke this down just a little bit for new users. I mean, if you quickly wanted to find out where you needed to go for a new user account and login instructions. Project navigation takes you through everything I just did today. We will be uploading the videos for the classes that we're hosting, so that way you guys will be able to go to the videos that are specific to you. They'll be pretty long and they'll be detailed, but it's going to be a great help if you need to answer questions. The training calendars, if you need to sign up, this tells you the class name, the intended audience, and the class notes. You want to register, you click on the Register Now, select the drop down, and select the date and time that works good for you. We have another class on Thursday if anybody wants to take this introduction again. Enter your information and click Join Webinar. These are really, really important, guys, especially those quick reference guides, because they even outline how certain fields, the nomenclature for certain fields, who's going to be workflowing a document. Because, I mean, we're going through a lot of training, but I don't expect you guys to remember everything. So make sure that you definitely utilize, you know, the quick reference guides. I have a question. Would Project Team be compatible with Procore so we do not have to do double entry on everything? Jessica, that's a great question. Sadly, you know, competing products don't allow us into their system. But what you can do is you can, you know, you can work to download the documentation. There's a report you can complete, you know, create that'll allow you to download it in Excel and then use whatever Procore has to upload. But that's a great question. Okay, so we just talked about the calendar. I know everybody loves Facebook. You love all the social media tools. You know, sign up on our Project Team social media tools, because I'm going to tell you, our platforms, we have a lot of really exciting stuff that's coming out. And that way you guys always know what's coming out. You can talk to John about it. We can set up a training class for you. You know, it's a great way to get to know us on the team, reach out to us, you know, things like that. Now, don't forget, if you, and I'm going to go back here right quick just so you can see. If you are a DGS employee, reach out to dgs.projectteam@dc.gov. DGS vendors, reach out to your DGS project manager to request an invite. Once you have an account and you are working in your project, reach out to support@projectteam.com or review the QRGs or videos. The system is it's just so fluid and it's very user-friendly. I think you guys are going to love it. Does anybody have any additional questions before I close out for today? We had a huge group today, 49 people. Okay. Y'all have been great. We look forward to working with you, and you should be hearing from DGS soon, or reach out to DGS and definitely request your account. All right. Thank you so much. Gregory, that's a great question. I did have one additional question. Gregory, what do you do if you miss the 24-hour window to open your account? I'm going to take you back to the slide right quick. If you lose your password or if your invitation expires, what you're going to want to do is open the Project Team login screen and click forgot your password. Let me show you how to do that right quick, just in case you go to the projectteam.home screen. Okay. When you put in projectteam.com, click that login button. And if I click log out, when you do projectteam.com and you click login, you'll be able to click forgot your password. Okay. All right. Thank you, Rowan. You're the best too. I hope you guys have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you soon.